You want to stick around and hear me talk about Ice Age 5?
Oh, probably not. As enjoyable as I'm sure that probably fucking is. Good Lord, no.
I'll talk Dave's ear off for 10 minutes about that.
I have to stick around. It's my car.
You taking off?
Yeah, I'm taking off.
I'll bring it in.
Ready?
Oh! You're
Backwards.
sweaty and I like it.
I know, it's fucking hot. It is fucking summer.
It's because, say it.
It's because there's a feminist in the car.
Is that why I'm sweating?
Yeah.
It's like-
There's
I
a
was-
feminist in the car. It's me.
No. If you look at the Ghostbusters comments, it's me. That's why I was sweating. I was
Yeah.
too scared to say I hated the movie. So, what are your burning questions about Ice Age 5?
Dude, I haven't seen Ice Age 2, 3, or 4, so...
I saw 4. All I remember about it was I remember Peter Dinklage was the bad guy.
Is it still the Ice Age, or have they fucking died yet?
No. Like, well, first of all, I'll start off because this was better than anything really that was in this movie. So I show up at 5 to see this movie because, like, Allison's not in the country right now, or is joking online like, so Allison had to leave the country to get out of Ice Age 5. Film Brain and Allison right back like, actually, it's been playing here for months. It's out here more than it is there, which is actually true, because this movie is technically considered to be a bomb here in the States, but it's, like, internationally, no. Internationally, this has already made, like, I think, like, $160 million. So
Jesus.
they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. It only made 20 in the States. We're probably still going to get an Ice Age 6. So
Or to go straight to fucking video. You know, that's the way it works with animation, you know?
I was the only one in that theater. So I walk in, I'm like,
Well, everybody was taking their kids to Batman tonight.
that was 2.5 hours later. At 5, that's true, there were some kids in there. At 5, I'm there and the guy's like, oh, you're probably here to see Killing Joke later, huh? And I'm like, yeah, but first, I'll take 1 for Ice Age Collision Course. That's the name. And so it's in the big theater, by the way. It's in the big theater. And I'm just like, I'm laughing. I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I just go and sit all the way in the back. I'm just...
As you do when
Yeah.
you're in an empty theater.
Exactly.
Always sit in the
You
back.
Always sit in the very back. So that's what I did. So 5 o'clock rolls around. Nothing. Some more minutes go by. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to start. So I get up and I find an employee there and I'm like, hey, my movie over in 8 hasn't started yet. And the guy's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it is supposed to start like at 5. And the guy's like, what movie is it? I'm like, it's Ice Age Collision Course. Help me out, bro. I gotta see what that mammoth is up to. So, I didn't say that, but like, so I
Gotta
went...
see what that hairy ass elephant doing.
Yeah. So I went back in the theater, and I go back in the theater, and I go back to my spot in the back. Couple minutes go by, nothing. And then the employee turns the corner, and he's looking for me. And I'm just like, you up here, buddy. Like, all the way in the back. Again, this is a big theater, so I'm like all the way in the back. Up here, buddy. And he's like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, they're starting it for you. They're just forwarding through the trailers. Like, okay. Well,
Did you go, I want to watch the trailer?
no, I was honestly like, oh, right on. I won't have to sit through the trailers. So since I'm in the back, I'm underneath, like, I'm right in front of the wall, and I'm underneath, like, the window that the projector is going through. So right before it starts, I can hear the manager on the other side who goes, is there really just one guy in there? Like, okay, fine, we'll start his movie for him. Oh, by the way.
Fuck that guy.
By the way,
Fuck that
it
guy.
made me laugh. It was a lady, Dave.
Alright, fuck that lady.
So, I thought it was funny. I could tell they thought it was funny too. But, the trailers were in front of the movie, so I think what the kid meant was like they're fasting forward the first look shit.
Ah, yeah.
So yeah, I got to see like 20 minutes worth of trailers, and then the movie started, which starts out with Scrat, again, best parts of the movie. Half of it I'd seen before, because half of it...
In the trailer when he goes up into space?
Well, no, like, that's from... I saw that in front of the Peanuts movie, because it was called...
Oh, it was a short.
Yeah, it was called Cosmic Stratosphere, something... Cosmic Scratastrophe. So that was like the first 5 or 6 minutes of this. So like, I mean, it was funny, so I'm like, oh, okay. But I was like, this is pre-existing. But it goes on from there, like with him in space. So he's got his nut, he finds a spaceship, he goes into outer space, creates the solar system, basically. Like, the planets are sitting there like pool balls, and the spaceship hits it, and it forms all the other planets. And so he drives through a moon at one point, and that now is sending asteroids hurtling towards Earth. Like, I was like, Scrat gets so many people killed in all these movies, and at the same time, Scrat is everyone's reason for being in this. Like, we exist because of Scrat in all of these. Like, hell, in the last one, it was because of Scrat that, like, the continents were formed. Now it's because, like, he hit some pool balls in space and it formed the planets. One thing hits Jupiter and causes the spot on Jupiter.
That's a hurricane.
Yeah, well, Scrat did that. Scrat did that shit. So he creates the moon, too. The moon hits the Earth and causes a tidal wave at one point. And one character is, like, saying, like, we're gonna cross this river. And he's like, oh, there's this one crazy character who's like, obey me, we want to cross the river. And at that point, the moon is created, and it causes this tidal wave that suddenly looks like the 10 Commandments. You're like, what? Zany, man. There's a lot of zany shit in this movie.
And also scientifically accurate.
Hey, okay, here's the thing about this movie, is that it tries balancing them both. Like, it seems, because Neil deGrasse Tyson is in this movie. Neil deGrasse Tyson is in this, playing Neil DeBuck Weasel, who's a weasel who looks like Neil deGrasse Tyson, and he lives in the brain of another weasel character named Buck, who's played by Simon Pegg, who's this, like, crackhead weasel, he's actually pretty funny in the movie, but... So he's the one who's leading them on this journey to try to prevent the asteroid from hitting the Earth, this Simon Pegg character is. And in order to do this, him, like Leguizamo, Ray Romano, Dennis Leary, and all of them have to find the spot where the first asteroid hits, and then they figure out that since the rocks are magnetic, they can use the rocks to try to divert the asteroid's course so it won't plummet into the Earth and kill all of them. Meanwhile, there are villains in this. There are 2 dino birds, played by Nick Offerman and Max Greenfield, who are trying to kill Buck the Weasel, because this movie needs a villain for some reason. Like, they're trying to kill them off because they want the asteroid to hit the Earth, because they're like, when the asteroid hits, we'll just fly above it, and we'll be the only ones alive, and the place will be ours. And then it cuts to Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's like, that's stupid. So, it tries, you could tell that at certain points in this, they wanted, like, okay, let's make this cartoonish story, but put tiny little things in here and there, like they'll have a character pop up to talk about magnetism in the asteroids, they'll have a character pop up to talk about volcanoes and pressure and all of this. But then it seems like there was a third guy who was brought in to say, what would the millennials like in this movie? So you have a lot of characters who say things like hashtag totally, and referencing ninjas, like, boy, that's dope, that's gangsta, and say, like, you gangsta, man, you sneaky like a ninja. And at the end...
I swear, anytime I hear somebody say out loud hashtag
they do in the movie.
I want to slap them in the fucking face. I also hate it when I see hashtag something in any other place than fucking Twitter. It's the only place it fucking works.
Yeah, Twitter, and you can do it on Facebook too.
Yeah.
But, like, Yeah, so they do that in the movie, and at the end, when two characters get married, instead of saying I do, one character says most def. So, like, it seems like there was a couple writers involved in this that wanted to make it, you know, fun and in its own stupid way. Parts of it be kind of, I don't know if educational is the right word, but like kind of like, hey, here's how certain things work, the stuff that's not obviously cartoonish. And then maybe the studio brought in some guy to like really punch it up with that lingo that the kids are saying nowadays. Because like, all right, I understand that characters in this movie, they talk, they're speaking English. So yeah, it's prehistoric times, they're speaking English. Like, fine, I can wrap my head around that in this. Like I can any movie like this
It's
where
a
characters
cartoon.
speak.
It's
exactly.
Okay.
At some point, it gets to a point where it's like, in this universe, I don't know what they're referring to. Because, okay, Leguizamo's character the sloth, has a date with another sloth, and it doesn't go well, and then she leaves and says, you look nothing like your profile picture. And okay, if this were like the Flintstones or something, it would then show a gag that like, oh, in this universe,
It's a rock tablet. Yeah.
here's what this means. No, in this, they kind of leave it at that. So what do they refer? Do computers exist here? Does like
And-
plenty of prehistoricfish.com, is that a fucking thing in this universe? Like, so things like that.
So it's a throwaway line that has no basis in the story, and it's just that stupid. It's that stupid.
There's a lot of that in this movie. And yeah, there's a time or two that I laugh in it, like, because Leguizamo is very funny in this. Leguizamo's funny in it, Simon Pegg's funny in it. It's funny when John Leguizamo he's wanting to propose to this girl, and then she shows up and says, like, we've only been on one date. I've only known you for 13 hours. He's like, oh, but I've planned so much stuff in our future. He's like, here's what our kids will look like. And they're like melons that look kind of like him. He's like, I've even started digging our burial plots. And there's two characters who were like digging graves with their picture on it. I'm like, okay, that's funny. And like, there'd be really throwaway lines that would kind of make me laugh because Leguizamo's really funny. Like, when like they're saying like, oh, we can put these crystals in the volcano and it'll shoot it up towards the asteroids, and then Dennis Leary, who's the saber-toothed tiger, he's like, I don't know, that sounds stupid or something, and Leguizamo's just, huh, and you call yourself a professor? What? I don't know why that made me snicker, but it did. It was random. It was out of nowhere. I don't know why he would think he was.
Sometimes it's the delivery.
Yeah, sometimes it's all in the delivery, and that's what it was. They find the Fountain of Youth in this because Jesse Tyler Ferguson plays the Shangri-Lama, who has these crystals who make you permanently young. So that's where the sloth meets his girlfriend, and Wanda Sykes, who's the older sloth, becomes sexy in it at the end because she jumps in the Fountain of Youth. Suddenly there's fog, and it starts playing the opening beats of Let's Get It On, and you just see this big afro. Like, suddenly she looks like Pam Grier. Like, oh, this hot tub just got a little hotter. There would be stupid shit like that where every now and then I would kind of snicker to the point to where I'd be like, okay, if you've got kids, don't take them to the theater to see this. There's plenty of other kids movies out that are way better than this. If you're at home and they've liked the other movies, yeah, all right, you can rent this and throw it on the TV. It'll cost you $3-4.
Yeah.
Fine. There was too much of that, like, trying to be hip and modern lingo that...
Well, the fact is, we're old, man. We're old.
I wouldn't have liked that shit. I wouldn't have liked that shit even when I was 21. Because there's a difference between making your character feel genuine and just being, like, really condescending and cynical. And that's what this is. Like, it was simultaneously trying to be clever, but also just being... yeah, really slightly condescending and just really talking down to your audience and thinking that you're just fucking stupid with this. Again, like the guy says most deaf at the end when instead of saying I do, just cuz. Like there was too much of that shit in the movie. It's gonna end up being like the fourth one was for me, where it's like, I'm not gonna remember this shit. I barely fucking remember the fourth one.
Dude, quite honestly, there's so many movies that, unless they're really good or really bad, they just fucking blend into each other anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, and I think it's because
Because we see a lot.
because we see a lot of fucking movies.
We see a lot. And this one, no, this isn't one of the worst kids movies I've seen this year. It's mediocre. It's wildly mediocre. It is what it is. It was made because they're still making money, and that's it. I mean, the Scrat stuff was good, as always. Like, the Scrat stuff can still get a laugh out of me. The Scrat stuff got a little dark at times in this, because he's constantly in space in it. So, there's a part where he and his acorn get into, like a teleporter, so it then turns into like the Fly, or like, so suddenly like his head is the acorn and it keeps going back and forth, and some of it's kind of horrifying. Like at one point, like his skin is just completely off his body and it's on the acorn and he's a skeleton, and then at one point the acorn is like his eyes, and then like the acorn is his tail, and like it's really quick, like 1 second gags, but I'm like, wow, there's a split second in his life here that's really fucking horrifying. So, I got Ice Age 5 out of the way.
Yep. 2 for 1 video, kids.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 videos, depends on how he edits.
Oh, it'll be 2 videos. It'll be 2 videos. This is be like, we've done this. This is like when I was telling you about Old Fashioned.
Oh god, yeah.
So let me tell you about this. Alright, so Thursday is Jason Bourne and Bad Moms. So, yeah, some of us will be there at those. I don't know who, but Jason Bourne, Bad Moms. At some point, we got that fucking, like, Dinesh D'Souza fucking movie.
Try and fit that, Hillary's America in this week.
Let's find out what the fucking real America is from Dinesh D'Souza. Oh boy, can't wait.
Yeah.
Kirk Cameron saving America. That's what that's gonna be.
How dare women want healthcare?
Well,
Fucking SJWs.
well, now let's maybe the movie will give us context for all of this.
Okay.
We got to see the documentary first. See ya.
Can it be considered a documentary if it's nothing but fucking lies?